All right, let's talk about protein. We're going to follow one single protein molecule on its wild, action-packed journey through your body. Seriously, it's this whole process of deconstruction and absorption that happens every single time you eat. Let's get right into it.
I mean, you've probably wondered this, right? You eat a protein-packed meal. You know it's good for you, but how? How does your body actually get the good stuff out of it and put it to use? Well, that is exactly what we are going to unpack.
So our little protein protagonist starts its journey looking something like this. It's a super complex, tightly folded three-dimensional structure. The best way to picture it? Think of a really tangled ball of yarn. It's a beautiful molecule, but in this folded up state, it's totally useless to your body. And this is the whole point of the mission. The entire goal here is to take that complex ball of yarn and break it all the way down into its individual building blocks. We call these amino acids. These are the little guys your body can actually absorb and use to build muscle, repair tissue, you name it.
Okay, first stop on this journey is maybe one of the most intense environments in the entire body, the stomach. This is where the deconstruction process really kicks off, and it's not gentle.
So deep inside the stomach lining, you've got these two types of specialist cells that get the signal. Protein has arrived. The parietal cells start pumping out powerful hydrochloric acid. At the same time, the chief cells release this molecule called pepsinogen, which you can think of as a pair of molecular scissors that still has the safety on.
And here's where we see the stomach's brilliant 1-2 punch. First, that acid, specifically the hydrogen ions in it, forces our tangled ball of protein yarn to completely unravel. It goes from a 3D clump to a long, straight chain. That's called denaturation. Then that very same acid clips the safety lock off of pepsinogen, turning it into the active enzyme pepsin. Now those molecular scissors are ready to go, and they start making the very first cuts in that long protein chain.
And this quote from Dr. Mike just nails the concept. You can't really cut a tangled ball of yarn, right? It's just a mess. So the most critical job of the stomach acid is simply to unravel it, to make it accessible for all the other enzymes that are about to jump into the fight. So after leaving the stomach, our now unraveled, partially chopped protein moves on to the small intestine. And guess what's waiting for it? A whole army of highly specialized enzymes, all deployed from the pancreas.
Now this part is really cool. Check out the chain of command here. The pancreas sends out all these enzymes in an inactive form. That's what the OGen and PRO bits mean. But once they hit the intestine, a specific enzyme there called enterokinase flips the switch on just one of them, trypsin. And then trypsin acts like a general, turning around and activating the entire rest of the army. It's this incredibly efficient chain reaction.
And this isn't just a chaotic attack. This army has a clear plan. You've got enzymes like trypsin and chymotrypsin acting like the main demolition crew, chopping up the long protein chains right in the middle. But then you have a specialist, carboxypeptidase, whose only job is to go to the very end of a chain and snip off that last amino acid, one by one. The pancreatic enzyme army does a ton of damage. But believe it or not, the job still isn't done. The protein fragments are now about to face one final assault, and this one happens right on the surface of the intestine itself.
Right there on the wall of the small intestine, there's this fuzzy surface called the brush border, and waiting there is the final cleanup crew. These two enzymes, dipeptidase and aminopeptidase, are the ultimate specialists. Their whole purpose is to find any of those little leftover chains and break them down into single units. And just like that, mission accomplished. That huge, complex, folded protein has been systematically unraveled, chopped, and diced by multiple teams of enzymes. And all that's left now is basically a soup of individual amino acids. Those fundamental building blocks our body can finally use. But, being broken down is only half the battle. Now, these amino acids need to actually get out of the intestine and into the bloodstream. So, how in the world do they cross that cellular border?
While the body uses these really clever transport systems. The main way in is by hitching a ride with sodium. Your intestinal cells are constantly pumping sodium out, which means sodium always wants to rush back in. So amino acids just grab onto a sodium ion and get pulled right into the cell along with it. A similar kind of piggybacking system also works with hydrogen ions. Now,
What happens if a few little pairs or triplets of amino acids, dipeptides or tripeptides, manage to sneak inside the cell? No problem. The intestinal cell has one last quality control checkpoint. It's got its own internal enzymes that immediately chop up any of those remaining chains, making sure that only single amino acids make it through to the other side.
And with that final step, the journey across the border is complete. The individual amino acids pop out the other side of the intestinal cell, jump into the bloodstream, and are immediately whisked away to the liver. From there, the liver will direct them to wherever they're needed most in the body.
So, let's just do a super quick recap of this whole amazing journey. It all starts in the stomach, which uses acid to unravel the protein and pepsin to make the first cut. Then, the pancreas unleashes this coordinated army of enzymes for all the heavy-duty chopping. The intestinal wall provides the finishing touches, breaking everything down to single units. And finally, those individual amino acids are cleverly shuttled into your bloodstream.
Think about it. From a tangled ball of yarn to usable building blocks, it is an unbelievably complex and elegant factory that your body runs to perfection every single day without you even having to think about it. So I guess the only question left is, what are you going to choose to fuel this remarkable system with next?